All right, boys. I'm gonna teach you. This is the first tip for the PvP guide. This is a grenade pull push. Say somebody's like in front of you, and they're holding an alley, kind of like this, where even though I'm on a right hand, I want to be sure that I can kill my opponent. Here, Cheeks, come to the left real quick. So, say the enemy is in front of me like this, and I want to push him on a left hand, which is normally not good to do. What I can do. Stand back though, Cheek, so you don't die to this nade. What I can do is I can underhand the nade and time it correctly, where I can push off the grenade, stand close enough, and then swing my opponent. This is more of like an advanced tip, and I'll do it on the right hand as well, so you can get an idea. So Cheeks is gonna peek out here, and I'm gonna throw a nade. And while I'm throwing this nade, I don't want to expose myself. So I'm going to throw it behind, like I'm going to be behind the wall, and then I'm going to push with the nade. And then swing. And I'm going to get as close to the nade as possible without, you know, dying. Alright, boys. So second PvP tip is left-handing people. So whenever you're right-handing people, you're always in an advantage because... Here, Cheeks, peek this right, or your left hand. You're always in an advantage because I can see Cheeks. I can see his full right side of his, or I guess technically his left side of his body before he can see me. Like, can you even see me right now, Cheeks?
Just the tip of your head.
Yeah, just barely anything. So you're always in an advantage peeking a right hand. So I'm going to teach you how to peek left hands because most people won't peek left hands, but if you know how to do it right, you can outplay your opponent. So the first tip I'm going to give you is, here, Cheeks, run over here. And yeah, stand there. Okay. So if your opponent is very close to this box, like he is, and you know he's there, you're gonna want to swing this corner as close to the barrier or whatever hard cover you're on. So in which case is this this crate, you want to swing close because your body doesn't show as much as if you were to swing wide. So if you were to swing wide here, Cheeks can see my entire body right now on his screen, and I can only see his arm. But if I swing close like this, my entire body appears at all, like all at once, basically. Whereas if I peek out here, he can see me quicker than I can see him, and then he has the advantage. But if you swing close, I have the advantage. And then also, if you turn your flashlight on, that's another helpful thing. Turning your flashlight on, point firing, and strafing. Little things like that help. Alright, boys. So, third PvP tip is movement. This is a common strat I do to figure out where my opponent is. So, for instance, I already know Cheeks is right here, just waiting for me. But say I don't, and I want to clear this doorway. What I like to do is I like to free look across to see if he's there. And sometimes they'll shoot. And if that happens, you can either instantly peek like this and shoot him in the face. Or if it's a more experienced player, you might want to wait a couple seconds and then peek out. Or you could slow lean like this. But yeah, just leaning out, or not leaning, but free looking left and right through doorways is a great way to find out if your opponent's there or not. Alright, boys, fourth tip. Don't shoot me yet, the Cheeks. The fourth tip is, so I don't know where my opponent is, or say I do know where my opponent is. And what I want them to do is I want them to shoot. I want to bait shots. And depending on what gun he has or what caliber, I like to do a little peek like this, like a little side peek, to figure out where my opponent is and to bait shots. So I'll do this and bait shots. And then I can, it's kind of like another way to like run across like this, just back and forth. It's good for baiting shots, and then you can, you know, peek your enemy. Another tip is leaning. This is a common, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people don't lean whenever they fight. They swing the corner on the left hand, and they peek like this, and it's an easier target. But if you are to run and lean, it's harder to hit their head, like to track the enemy. Alright, boys, so this is another nade trick. This is like a super advanced trick. One where you'll just throw your opponent off so much that it's pretty much an easy kill every time. So what I'm going to do is I know my opponent is down there. You see him down at the end. So I'm going to throw a nade behind cover. I'm going to sit behind cover. I'm going to throw it. And as the nade blows up, I'm going to peek out, use the nade audio, and by the time he peeks, I can already kill him. The next trick I'm going to teach you is jump peeking. Yeah, just stand behind. Yeah, just stand right there. Just like behind something. So, say, for instance, I'm over here. And Cheeks is over there. And I want to jump peek to see if he's there. You can do a little jump peek. So how you do this, what I'm doing right now, is and you can time this correctly to where you just jump past to where you're like barely peeking. So hold the angle, Cheeks. So I'm going to, and the more you do this, the better you're going to get. So if you're new to jump peeking, what you're going to do most likely is you're going to jump out, but you're going to jump out too far. See how like as I jump back, he's still in my line of sight, so where he can kill me. But what you want to do is you want to jump to where you can spot him, but then also jump behind cover. And then peek out and shoot him in the face. Alright, this next technique is... What you do is you gain momentum by sprinting against the wall like this. And all I'm doing is I'm holding W and moving my mouse back and forth. And then I peek out and swing Cheeks. And then... So what you're doing is you're gaining momentum. And then you're peeking out and swinging. And what it does is it throws your opponent off here. Do it, Cheeks. Just so they can see the opposite side. So say I'm the opponent. Here, do like a normal peek real quick, Cheeks. Yeah, just do like a right lean. Okay, you see how slow it is compared? Now do the fast lean. Yeah, you see how fast he leans out? And by then I'm already dead. Alright boys, this is another, it's not a PvP tip, but I definitely do a lot of PvP. If you want to check out my Twitch sometime, I'll pop up a link. But another tip is, say I'm going into a raid, what I always do is I always insure my gear. This is a common, I feel like not a lot of people know this, is when you go into a raid, you should always insure all of your gear. Say you kill a player. What you can do is you can loot their body and you can go dump your gear somewhere. So you can, you can dump it back here or wherever. And what you do is you're going to get your gear back depending on if you hide it well enough. And you go and loot the guy that you killed. And then you can run around with a lot of confidence because this isn't your gear. So what do you have to lose, So what I always do is I always insure my gear. So whenever I kill someone, I get my gear back, but also if I make it out of raid, I get to keep their gear and run it. It's just like a common, it's like a cycle. It's like a snowball effect where you just keep gaining gear over and over. Alright boys, so the next trick I'm going to teach you is like a super advanced trick. It's more of like if you want to style on your opponent. Come over here, Cheeks, actually. Say your opponent is holding a right hand inside here. So hold that right hand, Cheeks. And you're on this left hand and you know he's here. What you can do is you can jump peek him where you have a chance to shoot him, but he's not expecting you to jump peek. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing spacebar, jumping, and as I hit the ground, I'm spamming spacebar and I'm holding A. So it looks like this. And as I jump peek, here, stand out of the way, Cheeks. Come over here. Just so I don't shoot you. So I'm jump peeking, and as I'm jumping, I'm gonna spray my mag. And you do have to time it correctly, and you have to jump in a certain spot to where you hit the headshot. But also turning your flashlight on helps too. Just jump peeking is, say you know where your opponent is, and he knows where you are, and you've already peeked an angle like this, and he's shot at you and missed. What you can do is, depending on, you know, how good he is or certain things, repositioning is a great way to throw off your opponent. Maybe peek a small little angle like this, or peek a left hand that he might not expect. Just having some patience helps too. If you think he's gonna hold that angle for a very long time, you can reposition and get behind cover and just wait a couple seconds. And depending on if it's a good player or a bad player, and you'll know depending on what they do or how quick they react, you'll know whether or not to instantly peek like this and shoot, or, you know, maybe take your time on a right hand because they might not have as fast reflexes. See how he's like looking in a different area? Just repositioning is such a great way to throw off your opponent. All right, boys. Another tip I'm going to give is peeking windows in general. So, first of all, Cheeks is in a very bad spot right now. You see how he has nowhere to go besides back through the door? So what you can do is, this works pretty much on any opponent. Say you're like, you have a fat bag and you're running across, you're trying to go to extract, and you spot him by free looking. What you can do is, instead of peeking the window like this and shooting him, you can hold the angle and Cheeks peek out into it. And as Cheeks peeks, as he peeks, I can unpeek and shoot him in the face. Just holding the angle rather than peeking the window because he's expecting you to peek. You have the advantage because when he's peeking, he has less time to react when I'm already holding an angle. Another trick I'm going to teach you is slow leaning. So the way I do this, I'm going to show you my keybinds real quick. The way I slow lean, you go to your keybinds, smoothly lean right. So I hold left alt and I hit D. And you can change your keybinds, but this is what I have in case you're wondering what I have. There's my sensitivity, everything. But the way I slow lean my opponent is I get an angle really close to it and I slow lean. And you can do this on any angle. You can get super far away, or you can get super close to your opponent. Typically, you want to be, whenever you're slow leaning, you don't want your opponent to know you're slow leaning, because if they're already holding the angle, you're going to die. But if they're not expecting you to peek the angle, like maybe this guy is, all you do is you slow lean out and you pop them. All right, another PvP tip is, and this is one of the most important ones, I'd say, and you can use this not in Tarkov, you can use this in any game, is when you're walking around in Tarkov, you should always have your crosshair head level. So in case I come around this corner and there's a player that I'm not expecting, you already have your crosshair head level and all you have to do is pull the trigger. So if I'm walking, I'm running through here, and I'm free looking in an area where I think an enemy might be, and I run past, and I don't see this guy that's holding this angle. I run past, I don't see him, but since I might think that somebody would be over here, I'm holding my crosshair head level, or I'm running over here and I'm peeking. Just always have your crosshair wherever you think your opponent's gonna be, and that gives you an advantage, just enough that it might save your life. Trick I'm going to teach you here, Cheeks. Go on this right side of this crate. So say I'm pushing somebody, and this goes for any peek anywhere. I'm pushing somebody, or say they're pushing me, and I'm listening for their audio cue. So swing the corner, Cheeks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my gun up before he pulls his up. Do you think I need to explain that? Or is that just kind of common sense?
No, no.
Don't
You gotta
explain it.
explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you're just standing, like if just say that when if you're trying to pick up on an audio cue and then you hear someone push you, have your gun up before I have mine as I'm sprinting. That way you have the advantage.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right, YouTube. That's gonna be it for the PvP tips and tricks. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely drop a comment on what you want to see next. I do stream on Twitch every day around like 5 p.m. EST. So if you want to come through and say what's up, I would greatly appreciate it. But until then, I will catch you on the next video. Peace.